This segment is brought to you by Jig Masters. Step up your game with high-quality performance jigs, spinner baits, buzz baits, and more from jigmasters.com. And always, when in doubt, get the jig out.
Welcome to the Bass Kayak and Beers podcast on the Paddle and Fin Network. On this podcast, we'll be talking about life and kayak fishing. Every week, we'll have a special guest, whether it's a tournament angler, content creator, or just a regular guy or girl who just loves to go kayak fishing. So grab a cold beer, sit back, and enjoy the show. Bass Kayak and Beers is sponsored in part by Douglas Rod. Go to douglasoutdoors.com to check out their full lineup and locate your nearest authorized dealer. All right, welcome to the Bass Kayak and Beers podcast on the Paddle and Fin Network. Today we got Clayton Swofford. Did I say that right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Swofford.
Awesome. Perfect. Clayton, thank you so much, Clayton, for joining us. Clayton just won the TKC, Texas Kayak Championship at Lake Palestine, a tournament that I had the opportunity to compete myself. Clayton put up big numbers, had a great showing, so it's only natural to bring Clayton onto the show to talk a little bit about his big win and a few other stuff. So Clayton, thank you so much for joining us, man. How you doing?
Absolutely, man. Thank you, Armando. Thank you for having me. Yeah, brother, I'm doing great. Just hanging out, riding that win, I guess.
Awesome, man. How does it feel winning that?
It was pretty cool, man. Pretty cool. It was my first tournament in since COVID. It's been like a year, couple months, year and some change since I've actually fished a tournament. So, and one of my buddies, Joe Sanderson, he kind of established that or helped run it. So it was just cool coming back and hitting the ground running,
Cool, man. Well, before we dive into the ins and out of your win, tell us a little bit about yourself, Clayton. Now, what do you do for a living and how you got into kayak fishing?
Yeah, brother. So I graduated college like a couple years ago. Got a marketing degree. At the time, I was bartending and just got into kayak fishing and started kind of getting my feet wet with the tournaments and stuff. Had a really good first year. Ended up qualifying for the KBF National Championship. And this was 2018 or 19 and 18. So, yeah, man, I kind of got addicted in a way and just I've been kayak fishing ever since. Like I said, I graduated college. I run a jig business now. So Clear Fork Customs is mine. So hit me up anytime. Make you some jigs, whatever you want. And yeah, just been kind of just fishing, man. I just love it. So yeah, that's me pretty much.
Pretty cool, man. How do you got into making the jigs? How long have you been making them?
So the first, my year kayak fishing, I met my buddy Dakota, Dakota Long, super cool guy. Look him up. And we were fishing buddies, and he owned Clear Fork Custom Jigs. So I would go over to his house all the time and I'd make my own jigs with him and we'd just hang out, and I'd help him with orders and stuff. And, life happens. He got married, had a baby and all that, kind of wanted to let the company go. So I was like, yeah, I'll take it, and kind of took over, and I've been pumping them out. Got some right here ready to ship out, a whole bunch of them I've been making all day. So yeah, it's fun. It's cool. It's cool catching fish on your own baits, and it's even cooler giving them to someone and then seeing what they catch. So it's super cool. I like it.
That's nice, man. So if people want to get their hands on some of those jigs, where they can find it?
Yeah, man. Clear Fork Custom Jigs, Facebook, Instagram right now. Got a PayPal. It's simple. I'll ship them to you wherever you're at. Hit me up. I'm in Fort Worth. I'll deliver them to you. I've literally gotten off work at midnight and drove some jigs to some friends that needed them for a tournament the next day, and I'll hook you up. It's if you're local. So yeah, hit me up.
Perfect, man. Definitely. So for all those Texans, and I know most of my audience is from Texas.
Yes,
here you go. Where can they locate you at?
Facebook, Instagram. I'll send you the links, Armando. You can throw them up on this video podcast, everything, link everything in the description for sure.
Perfect. Awesome. So Clayton, let's start with your win at the TKC in Lake Palestine. First of all, where did you start off fishing? What was the hot spots that you found, and how did you decide to fish in that spot?
Brother. I fished all day Friday, all day. The last time I had fished that lake, it was a few weeks ago. Didn't do any good. And then I'd fished it like 2 years ago for a North Texas Kayak Championship tournament. Didn't do very good then either. I fished a lot of areas Friday. I covered the whole south end of the lake. I checked out a few creeks. I didn't catch anything, man. I'm not gonna lie, I skunked Friday. So Saturday I threw a Hail Mary. I fished Kickapoo. I fished the upper river chain, and I fished Flats Creek before. And I thought Kickapoo's going to be crowded.
Yeah,
so I'm going to go flat. Yeah, no, I knew it was. I drove by it the day before and just said, not even going there. I've done good in Kickapoo. I love Kickapoo, but the Flats Creek area it sets up very similar. So yeah, that's where I launched, man. And I just threw a Hail Mary. Hadn't fished there in a couple of years, but I figured there's got to be a little bit of current, and the water's definitely warmer. So that's where I went, man. That's where I posted up at, and I'm gonna pull it up right now. Actually, I didn't leave the ramp.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't go very far. I didn't drop my motor at all. Literally just hung out in the same area. So there's a ramp off the highway that's not really a ramp. It's not a boat ramp. You can just pull off.
You don't mind if we can probably Google it. You don't mind doing that? Is that okay? Giving out
if
that
you can
spot?
pull it up, let's do it.
Yeah, I think we can do that. Let me see. Lake
brother.
Palestine. So for those out there watching on YouTube or on Facebook, you can check out the map.
Pull it up because I don't know how to show you.
Let's do the satellite image thing, Lake Palestine. And if I remember correctly, how do I do share screen on this? Share screen. Application window. No. Chrome tab. Lake Palestine right here. Can you see it?
Yes, sir, I can.
Okay. So let's zoom in. You were at further north, right? Flat Creek?
Yeah. Flat Creek is the big cove further north.
This is Kickapoo.
Yeah, that's
Kickapoo.
River. So go down. It's on the east side of the lake. Or the west side of the lake, I'm sorry.
Am I in the right spot? I'm not that familiar with the lake.
Yeah, no, keep
Creek.
going a little bit south. Now go west. Do west. Do west.
Oh, west. I'm sorry. Here we go.
No, you're good, brother. Go north a little bit.
And
a little further. Okay. Now you see you're in this cove here. Now follow that all the way up to the creek, all the way west.
Bike.
I think you're a little too high. Are you north?
This is
I'm sorry. Further south.
I know I'm zoomed in, so I may be
familiar. Yeah, you're good. You're good. I can actually drop you a pen and send it directly to you.
Let me zoom out a little bit so you can see it better.
You're good. You're good, man. So on the very bottom left corner of your screen, you see that highway going across the lake? Bottom left. Okay, so that creek. Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Creek channel, all the way back up in it. You'll see another bridge, that highway right there. I believe it's highway
314?
Yeah, 314. There you go. So you can see where I launched right there on the satellite image. You can pull off the highway.
Right here?
Yeah, brother. That's where I was.
Wow.
So, yeah, I didn't go that way. I went towards the main creek. You can see that main bend in the creek channel right there. Your mouse is just a little left. I'm sorry.
Right here?
Up. Yeah, so that whole area right there where your mouse was, closer to the ramp. Yeah, right there.
Really?
That whole area, brother. So you follow that creek channel through there. There was current, and that's the only area I fished, man. Back and forth from where I launched back to where it opens up, and then back to the ramp all day.
So what draw you to that? Was it like you canceled water by pre-fishing the first? Like it was more like a default. The places where I thought it was gonna be good fishing wasn't. So let me just try this one as a Hail Mary.
I knew it was a good creek. I'd fished there, like I said, a couple years ago. I knew it was a good creek. It's deep. It's a lot deeper than it looks. If you have a graph, obviously you realize that. But two things made me stay right there, though, because my plan initially was to go to the main lake from that ramp. I was going to head out. First of all, I got my truck stuck because it was super muddy. That's not gravel. That's all mud right there. So I got my truck stuck. Joe had to pull me out first thing in the morning. We still launched on time. No worries. No delays or anything. But I hadn't been there in a couple of years. It was really dark. And I have a Diablo, so my transducer arm goes over the side.
Mm-hmm.
I smacked it on a log first thing and snapped the ram ball.
Man.
So I was like, shit, So I kind of stayed right there in that creek where I launched and was fixing it. Used some gear ties, rigged it up, got it to, so where I could at least read depth. My side imaging was kind of trashy, but when the sun came up, I realized I'm sitting in current. Like you could see the little eddies in the water and stuff. And I was like, I'm gonna start fishing right here. And I fished and fished and fished. Started catching a bunch of little like 13s, like 12s, like a bunch of little fish. I got closer to the main lake and I realized the current it dissipated because there's so much like wetlands and like backwater right there. So the current kind of disappeared. And I could see people that launched on the main lake coming my way. So I was like, screw it, I'm gonna go back up to where the current is. So I fished it again and caught I want to say like a 14 and a quarter was my first keeper. And then I caught like a 14 and a half and like a 15 and so on and so on. They just kept getting bigger and bigger. I was weeding through them. And like I said, man, I just stayed there. I had a feeling and that's where I stayed. And my limit, my first like initial limit was like 80 inches or so, like all like 14s, 15s, like not crazy. And that had me in like third place because I submitted them all immediately. I always wait to submit till I have a limit and then I'll start calling them, obviously. But yeah, so I was like, damn, you're in third, like keep fishing, like just keep fishing, weed through the small ones. There's big fish here for sure. The water temp up there was the highest I saw, like 56.
Oh,
whereas
kind of like same as Kickapoo, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same as Kickapoo. The further up you went, the better it got. The main lake at that time was 45 to 48 where I was seeing Friday, where I was pre-fishing. So big difference. I knew they were in there. They just weren't biting exactly. So yeah, man, I played around with some different baits. I finally found something that was producing a bigger bite and I stuck with it the rest of the day. Caught that 23 and a quarter. I had a little penalty because the mouth wasn't fully closed. Y'all know how it is on the cold days. It's hard to get them to stay shut. But yeah, she was a big girl. And after that, like I just had the momentum, you know what I mean? And I caught a couple of 18s, like in a half, I think. I don't really remember, but yeah, ended up pulling it off. So,
what baits worked for you best on that day?
Oh, my jig, man. So the finesse, I have a couple unskirted right here, but this style head, little finesse flipping jig. I want to say it was a 8 or 3/8. It was a 3/8. 3/8 flipping jig, man, and skipping it as deep as I could into the brush and just fishing it super, super slow, man, super slow. Nice. So yeah, that was the ticket all day. I caught a couple fish on a wacky jig. If you know me, I fish a wacky jig religiously. But they were the smaller fish, so I just kind of let it go and stuck with the jig all day.
What colors were you using? Did the colors play a factor, do you think, in what you were trying to do?
So I ran through. It's embarrassing. I make jigs, and I showed up to this tournament a little short-handed on those style jigs. But I started with the water up there isn't as stained as Kickapoo. It's a clearer. It looks a lot like the Trinity River. It's got some stain, but it's clearer water. So I went with like a Tennessee shad, blackhead, like style jig, at first, and that's what I caught a lot of fish on. I broke that off on a fish, unfortunately, and I switched to a June bug purple with like some chartreuse. Me and Dakota call it the Joker because it's purple and like neon green.
Yeah, I've
with
seen
a
that
June bug crawl, man, and that's what I finished the day on, was that single jig, and I caught a lot of fish on that jig.
It really stresses the importance of pre-fishing because, like you said, it's not the first place that you would have thought. You know, an experienced angler, you said, okay, this is probably not the best place, but it came more out of, okay, canceling water. This water didn't work. This water didn't work. Okay, well, by default, not what I would have chosen, but let's give it a try. So it really is like, as much as you can have your instincts dialed in and the knowledge, really it comes down to pre-fishing. A lot of times it comes down to pre-fishing and canceling water. And that's a great point that I think it's important, because a lot of people like myself that are trying to get into the tournament scene, we undervalue the importance of pre-fishing. You just don't show up to a lake if you've never fished and expect to catch fish. And if you do know the lake, whether you know it that particular time, because Lake Palestine, we had just come. I mean, Lake Palestine was frozen. It was on the TKC fan page. I mean, it was literally frozen in some areas.
Yeah, Kickapoo was frozen for the most part where you were at. I mean, the main creek channel, I'm sure the water was moving a little, maybe not as frozen, but it was frozen, bro.
Yeah. So it's even the most experienced angler on that lake. And granted, you as far as, like you mentioned before, as far as Lake Palestine goes, that's not your home lake. You're not experienced with Lake Palestine, and yet experienced anglers there struggle to even get a limit. So it really comes down to, I think a lot of times, not always, but it really comes down a lot of times to being able to do that pre-fishing and at least canceling water and figure out what is it that they want.
Yes,
so did you start it off? You mentioned you started off with some baits didn't work, and then you went to the jig. What baits did you start it off, and what was your thinking when you started off with the other baits?
So I guess I'm a big river guy. Like when I see current, I get all giddy. I love it. I love current. It's my favorite thing. Since the water was stained a little bit, I knew first thing in the morning I was going to start off with something moving, because the water was warmer. I knew they were going to be eaten. Like, I think, to take a step back just real quick, when everything froze and then thawed, I think those fish, the same thing as when it rains and the lake comes up. Those fish rush up because they haven't been able to be shallow. So they rushed up. So I knew they were going to be stacked in the creeks, not necessarily like destroying any bait in the world, but I knew they were going to be up there, especially with that warmer water, like I said, at Palestine. So yeah, when I saw that current first thing in the morning when the sun came up, because like I said, I kind of went in blind. I hadn't fished that spot in 3 years. I didn't really know what it was going to look like. I was like, I'm going to throw a spinner bait, a little Colorado blade. I'm going to throw a crankbait, obviously. Going to throw a big jig. I always throw a wacky rig. Always. You can always catch fish on a wacky. But yeah, I kind of started out moving. I switched over to a swim jig, with a little bit bigger of like paddle tail, like a bigger trailer. It was like a 5-inch trailer, just to kind of a little more water displacement, because it was a little stained up there. It wasn't the best clarity, but I couldn't get them to eat anything moving. I didn't get a single bite all day. I never gave it up. I kept throwing it. I kept switching everything up, but I never caught anything on a moving bait. Nothing, which is kind of weird. But, you know, once I switched to that finesse jig, it was game on.
That was a ticket.
It was like third cast, I got a bite. 2 more casts, I got a bite. And then that's kind of, I consistently threw that all day. I tried a few other things trying to get bigger and bigger bites. Because the thing with TKC, that tournament board shuts off, the leaderboard.
Yeah, really early.
Yeah, I was about to say, it was like 12:30 or something, right?
Yeah.
Like around that time. So you have no idea what other, and I wasn't that strong at that time. So I had no idea what other people were catching. I knew I had some heavy hitters in my area. Brian Howell, Joe Sanderson. I knew they were there, and I was just waiting for them to creep up behind me, realizing what I was doing and like figuring out their own pattern. But it never happened, man. I didn't see another angler all day. I hung out with some people, like old dudes catching crappie, but I never saw another person in that tournament. No one ever came up there.
Yeah, definitely. And it paid off tremendously, because I think only a handful of the guys really were dialed in. I think, I want to say the top 8 got the 5-fish limit. I forgot his name. I don't know if it was Brian Howell. Somebody got like a 4-fish limit that if he would have gotten a 14-inch, he would have just ran away with it. I forgot his name. Can't remember
Brian
who it is.
But I was second.
Yeah, so Brian came in second. Him. I can't remember who it is, but I remember saying like, man, if he would have gotten just one keeper, 14-incher, he would have gone in first place, because he was hitting, I think he was somewhere in the 80.
No, and that's the crazy thing about like this time of year. Like you can have a day where you don't catch a lot of fish, but you catch like a couple really good ones. But if you can't scrape up, I was lucky. I caught a very small limit and just had room to grow.
Yeah.
Sometimes I've had days where it's the opposite. You got one really good fish and that's all you caught. So
that's actually what happened to me. I went to Kickapoo, and that was packed. And I know Guillermo was around that area. I saw him at the reps. I didn't know if he went up Kickapoo or he went up the Nessus River. And I saw Matt Scotch, and they both did pretty well. I think they both got a limit. I think Matt
those guys are sticks, man. I've been hanging out with them for a couple of years, and they're hard to catch a lot of days.
Yeah, so. Matt was fishing pretty close to where I was. I mean, we still respect the boundaries and everything, but out of all that area, I think if Guillermo wasn't fishing Kickapoo, and I don't know because I didn't see him, I saw him at the Bron Bar, but if he was, assuming he wasn't, I think Matt did the best on that area because he caught a limit. Everybody else, myself, I caught, an 18-incher, and I forgot, I can't even remember. I also caught a big hybrid or sand bass up the Bridge 31. But it was completely different. It was to me, it was the crankbait bite that was working. I mean, in small portions.
That's good, man. I love a good cranking bite, but it wasn't for me. They were not eating it up there. I don't know what I was doing wrong, but I think go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. No, go ahead, please.
I think it just had to do with that. It was a pretty decent current up there. I know it's a creek. I'm a river guy, so I speak in terms of like cubic feet per second, like below dams being released. But it was sitting at like 75 to like 100.
Really?
Like it was a decent little current. Like I was having to like stake out a lot just to keep in position. So yeah, like I said, when I saw that, I was like, all right, sit down, buckle up, and just grind this area because it dissipated after a while. Like I said, there's a lot of backwater over there, and sometimes you just got to sit in the current. They love it. So, and
I'm wondering how much, because it sounds kind of crazy to think about this, but we never. It's been years since we had a weather pattern like we did a week before the tournament. And I was just reading today on this month's Bassmaster about spring fishing and bedding, and it was one of the articles was mentioning that bass, if it's a really, really cold winter, especially after what they call that fall spring, you get usually like some type of spring weather like in late January, early February, then we go back to winter, which is kind of like everywhere is like that, but it says if you get that really cold front after that fall spring, a lot of times the bass are gonna spawn earlier, which in my 100%. Mind, to me, it makes sense that it would spawn later because the water just got really, really cold. So why would they spawn? But I think it has to do a lot with what you said. It's like the water's been so cold and it lasted for almost 5 days that they're desperate to get back to their region because there's permanent residents on each area. You know, they're permanent
Absolutely. Yeah.
bass that are going to stay permanently in deep, and there's permanent bass that are going to stay in shallow waters. But in this case, because of the freeze, they had no choice but to move back. So a lot of them are just desperate to get back to that area. So I wonder, it sounds crazy, but I wonder if you caught him actually bedding.
So my big fish, I have a picture of it, and the tail's red, but it's not like it's not like terrible. I do think everything you just said is 100% true. Like everything you said, especially like consider like all those fish that live shallow, they had to rush deep. They don't live there. They don't eat there. They don't know what they're doing. And then they immediately went back starving. So they're all eating. Even the big ones that went back there are starving. They're going to spawn. They're going to spawn quicker. I've seen this on a couple lakes already. Like people are catching bedfish right now. Like people are catching bedfish on non-power plant lakes. But man, we saw this last year on the Brazos River, actually, because we had a lot of rain. And that river stays between the highest you'll see that river in normal conditions is like 300, 350 cubic feet per second. Mm-hmm. It was like 20,000 covering the bridge. Like you couldn't even drive. Like you couldn't drive it. Like you couldn't drive around the river. And that was right at spawn time because they spawn a little later in the Brazos. Dude, there was fish that were moving up. That happened. We weren't able to fish it or get on the river safely for weeks and weeks and weeks. And when we went back out there when it was calm, they're spawning everywhere. Like they all pushed up because they've been waiting. Like it's natural. So yeah, it's a magical time in Texas right now. Everywhere. Everyone's been seeing it. I know y'all have seen OHIV blowing up and
OHIV,
like
man, it's crazy.
So, like it's a wild time right now. All the lakes are fishing good.
It's kind of like bittersweet in the sense that it's like, oh man, look, they're biting OHIV, the monsters. But then it's like, oh, it's a Toyota Sherlock because that means they took him to the whatever fish you were holding area. It's like
he'll be back
like 3 or 4 bass that were just out. Like, well, they're not there anymore.
Nah, they'll take care of them. They'll put them back eventually. Yeah. But dude, it's happening everywhere. Maybe OHIV is kind of a little gem right now, but most lakes are fishing really, really good. Really good.
Yeah. So, I know Lake Fork has been a little bit of a struggle this week.
Lake Fork,
for a lot of
us. It
us.
also gets a lot of pressure all the time, man.
My God. I went yesterday. Well, today is Tuesday. We're recording. Show comes out Wednesday. So I went Monday. It's Monday, for crying out loud. A Monday. And it's chock full of bass boats everywhere. Everywhere. There wasn't a single point or secondary point that I could fish that there wasn't a bass boat. It was crazy. It was like it's a Monday, for crying out loud.
Yeah, my days off are Monday, Tuesdays. So if I'm ever at Fork for fun, that's when I'm there, and it's always busy. It just looks like a weekend all the time.
Always.
But love it. It's tough though. I will not be there this weekend. Y'all have fun and good luck to all of you.
Big gators. We were talking about that on the pre-recording. I ran into, man, I've never seen gators that big, at least in Texas. Those things are monstrous. I'll post a few pictures on Instagram, a few videos, but yeah, that was scary. That was crazy. But anyways, Clayton, you mentioned you love river fishing. What's some of your favorite rivers here in Texas?
Oh, brother. I love them all. My home river, I don't live anywhere near it, but the last few years of my life that I've been fishing like a lot, like, you know, more than I did when I was growing up. I've been driving down to the Brazos.
PK?
Lots of different locations. Love PK. Below Whitney's great. Scary. Gets rough out there sometimes. They'd love to open up those gates. I've been stranded one too many times out there, but yeah, man, I love the Brazos. I love the Trinity. Had a lot of great days on the Trinity. Downtown, West Fork, East Fork. It's all great. The Trinity's amazing. The Guad, the Frio, all fun places to go. Colorado's, I got a couple places I like to go, but Yeah, man, I just love rivers, brother. I love rivers. The Llano, recently went there. That's slept on. Not a lot of big fish, but it's really
Which one
pretty.
you said? I'm sorry.
The Llano River.
Oh, Lano.
Like, yeah, it's way far away from Fort Worth, but it's really cool. So definitely a good summertime spot. But
Devil's River.
yeah,
Have
man.
you gone Devil's River?
The Devil's River is coming up. I have
Really?
that's been my bucket list, man. That's like one of that and the Pecos are
Oh yeah.
two of the rivers that those are rivers you have to commit a lot of time to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't just go on a day trip and really see it. So those two rivers, Devils is coming up first, Pecos second. We got that TKC at Amistad, which is pretty
Amistad,
close
yeah.
to the Devil's River.
Yep.
If anybody listening, wants to set up a Devil's River trip close to that, I'm down because we'll already be there. So
yeah, I'm thinking about that too.
Yeah,
I was talking
Armando,
to Guillermo Gonzalez. I know he
work it
does tour guides over there in the Devil's River, so that's one of my bucket lists.
Guillermo's
Hopefully
soon,
this year.
Joseph's soon. No, yeah, I'm very excited. But yes, that's coming up in the next year. So if not by the Amistad tournament, I have another little plan B coming too. So
Nice.
Yeah, but the Brazos primarily for me, brother, is that's my playground.
Can we expect to see you at the KBF in April? Trinity River System?
There's a KBF on which honestly I haven't been keeping up to date with the KBF stuff lately. Not gonna lie. Love KBF. I'll be at the next national championship for this year.
Nice.
Back in Louisiana. Can't wait. Red River. Love the Red River too. But no, I'm not familiar with the
April 11 or 12. I think that's the weekend. You know how they do tournaments, one tournament on Saturday and one tournament on Sunday. It's the Trinity River Chains. So I guess every part of the river that counts as Trinity, I guess it's good.
It's a big river system, brother. There's a lot of water there. Is it like a strictly online? Is it like an in-person?
No, it's in person.
All right. Well, expect to see me there then, because I love that river.
Heck yeah, man! You got that's in you.
All right,
I'm about to look it up here in a minute.
Honestly,
my money's on you.
Awesome.
If I enter, to give you donate money for you, man.
Hey, brother, no, follow me. Let's go fish together. I don't care. I'm not greedy about spots.
I love fishing downtown when I don't have, since I live in Fort Worth, when I don't have that much time to spend. Like, to me, if I'm on my kayak, I need to have at least 4 hours. I know there's guys, I need 2 hours to go kayak fishing. No, I need 48 hours. Yeah. I'm not doing it unless it's more than 4 hours. So when I do have only 4 hours, I like to go to the Trinity downtown, and it's pretty good.
Yeah, I love the Trinity. So
nice views of the downtown area. It's not as dirty as people think. I think it was.
No,
I think it's the cleanest. Yeah, it's the cleanest city river in Texas.
No, it is for you. Now, I grew up here. I'll tell you, Trinity didn't used to be that clean, but as of late, the last 10 years, they've done a lot of work. The Trinity is very nice in the downtown area. They take care of it.
Yeah, they do.
It's a river. Obviously, it gets flooded with all sorts of garbage from time to time, but during ideal conditions, it's very clean. It's nice.
And the Clear Fork is, it's clearer than you would think for a Trinity River. The one that comes from Benbrook. Yeah, it's great. It's for a city river. I thought it's great visibility.
It's terrific, dude. I'll go bank. I have a girlfriend. We have a bunch of dogs. We'll go downtown, take the dogs out to Woodshed or something like that. I always got a pole. I'll go throw a couple baits here and there. I love the Trinity, man. It's an awesome place. You can really catch some quality fish down there too.
Yeah,
if you put in the time.
Yeah, quality fish, and the experience that I've had, every fish that I've gotten out of there, it's healthy fish, man. It's nice, healthy fish. The colors, they look healthy. You don't see them with sores or leech or anything like that. So I think it's cleaner than what people think it is. Or cleaner than what people.
Man. Hey,
nice, man.
I've been in the river. It's not that bad, guys.
Which river do you like the most? Which is your favorite one of the ones you fished?
Brazos, 100%.
Yeah.
Brazos.
PK or Whitney Dam?
Making me tell all my secrets, man. Below PK is my jam.
Yeah. Below PK.
Like, if you follow me on Instagram and you have been there, like you can tell from my backgrounds, you know kind of where I'm at. There's a lot of river below PK though.
Yeah.
So definitely like take an overnight trip, couple nights, like explore it. There's a lot of really good river there. Don't just go up to the dam and come home. Like it's a really good fishery. It's hard. There's a lot of pressure. But I'm a big bait guy. Like that's kind of why I started fishing as of late. They eat them, and they eat them. Those Brazos River fish love trout. They love the bigger bait
because
fish.
they fill it up. I'm wondering if they're trying to do the same thing they're doing in the Guad, because they're stocking. I mean, this year I think they stocked 9,000. They're still stocking them 9,000 trout, and big trout too. Because I went trout fishing, January or early February this year, and I caught some decent, a lot bigger than what they put in those in the ponds.
In the ponds
around here. No, those
would get hammered in like an hour, and then that's like all the good fish gone. But
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Were you fishing? You said you caught some good ones in the Brazos or the
Brazos.
The Brazos, yes.
In the PK dam. So I'm thinking I'm actually wondering if they are trying to make it like a sustainable habitat for trout, because you know that's what happened with the Guad. Now the Guad, if you go up to the dam, it's actually sustainable. You know, I think it's like
cold enough.
Yeah. So the water is cool enough. The only thing that I'm thinking is like, are they going to survive all that striped bass that are going to be haunting them? Because
that's the thing. That's the thing about the Brazos. I've had a summer where I've caught a trout like about 12 inches. I threw him back. I didn't keep him because there's only one, obviously, but I caught him in like very early August.
Yeah.
Still alive. Still living. They will survive. The thing is, there's a lot of striper.
Yeah, and
there's a lot of really big bass, and they destroy them. Like they're just not equipped to deal with that, I don't think. But
Ross
cool
Pinkerton,
the bass get huge.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like Ross Pinkerton went with that river. What was it? Is it River to Sea? I can't remember which one it is, but that trout glide bait, and he tore it up for the KBBT. That's Ross Pinkerton got me into going to the Brazos down at PK. Best day I've ever had fishing. Love it. Even the only problem is it's like this year, because it hasn't rained that much. It's been and since last year, since after April last year, it's been down to the 50. How do you call it? Cubic.
Yep, cubic feet per second.
Thank you. Exactly. Yep. So it's. I mean, it's coming back up to the 16 bridge, it's a hassle, because like half the time you're going to have to get off your kayak, get a rope and pull your kayak. So when it's that low, it's a hassle, because I feel like my experience with them, not super experienced on the Brazos, but when it's that low, they're really deeper into those pools. So they're not as close to the dam unless you go really next to right below the dam. But in between in between the dam and the bridge, they're really further down when it's that low. But man, they nice, healthy, aggressive bass, big bass. They've been feeding on trout all year.
That's a fun place for sure. It's not for the faint of heart. It's not easy to get around.
Yeah.
Especially when it's low, like you said, you end up on your feet a lot more than you are paddling. But Whitney's the same way below Whitney. Whitney's honestly even worse. Like you drag a lot more down there when the water's low, but
especially coming back up, because you got you got all that grass, that long grass. It's topwater heaven below Whitney Dam. I've done wade fishing, but in the kayak, I'm thinking, man, that's gonna be a hassle trying to get back to the ramp below the dam, because there's so much grass. There's no way you can do a pedal drive there.
Pedal drives, you gotta have that Diablo.
Yeah, you really do.
Deep enough, and you just kick back and relax. You gotta love the Diablo, but yeah, brother.
Clayton, thank you so much, man. It's been an honor to have you on my show. What's your next tournament that you're looking forward to?
So I will see everybody at the next TKC. We're
Cool.
going
That
to
is
Hubbard
Hubbard
Creek.
Creek, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I
Have
was
you
just there a
fished there
couple days
before?
ago. Yeah, just a couple days ago.
Do you
It's
think it'll be that much different now than it will be when the tournament ends? When the tournament starts, I'm sorry.
oh yeah, I went fun fishing yesterday, man. I'm big. Like I said, I live in like Fort Worth. I'm like 10 minutes outside of downtown, but I drive east or west. I'm sorry, west a lot. I like Hubbard Creek. TK is one of my probably all-time favorite lakes.
Yeah.
Obviously, I love the Brazos, but as far as main lakes like PK, that's my jam. Belton, super clear water. That's my stuff. Hubbard's pretty good. It's a little grassy, a little rocky. It's got a lot of different stuff. I'm excited. It wasn't fishing great for me a couple days ago, but it's also still really cold there. And we got a few weeks till the tournament, or a couple weeks till the tournament. So things are going to change. Like I said, yes, it was just fun, but it'll be a lot different here in a couple weeks, and it should be pretty interesting. I think they probably going to be on beds, if I had to guess.
In March, you think it'll probably be?
It's March 27th is like the day, right?
March 27th, yeah.
And based on what I was seeing there, I'm not going to give away any details because this one's coming up, but it should be about that time. Yep. So big looking out. Check the banks.
Yeah, definitely. North Texas kayak fishing. You're going to be there for possum? That's in June, I think, right?
Yeah, it's June 12th.
June 12th, yeah.
I plan on being there. However, there is a talk of maybe going on a cruise that might interfere with that. If I'm not cruising, I'll be at the tournament. So yeah.
Either way, you'll have fun, I'm sure.
Yeah, no, like I said, I freaking love that lake. I hope to be there, but at the same time, I've fished tournaments on PK before and haven't done that great. So you know what I mean? The whole being a local thing and really knowing what you're doing, kind of gets in your mind on tournament days. Sometimes it's not always positive. Sometimes you end up doing something you shouldn't be doing because you didn't think. Just like locals on Palestine, didn't think you'd have to go sit up at that boat ramp all day, but
yeah, especially when you get like a turnaround in weather like that. Yeah.
So yeah, exactly, brother. It should be fun though. Are you gonna be there?
For the Possum Kingdom, I think so. Yeah, I'm hopefully gonna be on all the TKCs the remaining of the year, and then Hobie in Sam Rayburn, and I'm still thinking if I want to do, because I can't, even though there's 2 different weekends, I really don't want to take 2 weekends to do tournament because of the budget. But either I'm going to be at Darnell for the Hobie BOS, or I'm going to be at the KBF Trolls in the Trinity River. So we'll see. One of those two. Well, but yeah.
Like I said, I'll probably be at that Trinity River one. Like I was just, guess I missed it. Like I said, I haven't really been keeping it. I don't like traveling that much. You know, it's hard to get time off, and you got to allocate certain tournaments. You know how it is, I'm sure. But yeah, no. Now that I know that, I'll probably see you there for sure. Amistad, me and Joe were talking about
Amistad,
down there. If you want to keep in touch with me,
Heck
I'll get an Airbnb or something. Bunk
Definitely.
up, save some money, have some bro time. That's a bucket list lake for me. I haven't fished there before.
Yeah.
And it's on my birthday. So
man, congratulations.
Stoked about that, and I want to go down there and spend some time and have a few good days. So if you want to keep in touch.
How young are you going to be that day?
Oh, how young am I going to be, man? I'm going to be turning 27, unfortunately.
Really?
I'm getting old. Yeah. Yeah, I'm a little older than I look. So, but yeah.
Wait till you get to your 40s, man. That's where it really goes down there.
It's all good, man. No, I'm happy. No, I love it. But yeah, so Amistad, super pumped. Hope I see everybody there. And I'll definitely see you at the Trinity River for sure.
Yeah.
We'll keep in touch. We'll talk. We'll figure some stuff out for that day. Like I said, I like launching with buddies around me. As long as they're not Matt Scotch and Guillermo, they catch all the fish. So
it's good to learn from them. But when it comes out of competition, it's like, well, I mean, I want to learn before, but not at the tournament day.
I love all of them. I love Joe. I fish with all of them for fun. But whenever I roll up at a ramp in the morning and I see their truck, I'm always like, oh, it's going to be a little tougher.
It's a great group of guys, though. I had a chance to meet Matt, Scott.
Terrific group of guys.
Yeah. Guillermo I had on my podcast, and I actually met at Backwoods where he works. Great guy. Yeah, and Matt Scotch, I just met him. Great dude, man. Great group of guys. It was awesome for me because I know working from the podcast, like I hear about all these guys, so I try to keep tabs on them to see what they're doing, and and kind of bring them on my show. But obviously they don't know me because I just started the tournament thing. So it's funny because I was like, I recognize everybody, but nobody recognizes me.
Yeah.
So I feel like, hey, how you doing, man? And like, who's this guy?
It's cool. That's how I was at first too. When I first met him, I was like, y'all are always here. Y'all must be cool. But no.
Jeff Isham was like, I'm sorry I didn't recognize you. I'm like, Jeff, I don't have all this nice, beautiful dreadlocks, that stand out. That's the only thing I recognize you for so easily.
Oh, yeah, Jeff's cool.
Yeah, cool dude. I got to fish with him on Palestine too, so great guy.
Yeah.
So Clayton, before I let you go, and again, thank you for taking the time. I've had you here for almost an hour, so appreciate you taking the time.
All good.
If there's anybody you want to thank, any sponsors, family members, anybody you want to thank that makes your fishing life a lot easier, go ahead.
Yeah, brother. First and foremost, the old ball and chain, Haley Gibson, beautiful woman, has my heart. She puts up with me. If you're a fisherman, a lot of hours on the water, a lot of time on the road. But yeah, she's amazing. Obviously, I thank her. But other than friends and family and stuff, big shout out to Cortland Line right here. If you haven't heard of them, check them out. If you're a braid guy, check them out. Best braid in the business. Look up Silent Flip. It'll change your mind. I swear. All my fish, Palestine, Silent Flip braid. 16 carrier, huge game changer. Super smooth. It's like butter. Clear for custom jigs, obviously. And yeah, man, that's pretty much it. So I appreciate you having me on here, Armando. Absolutely.
Oh, it's an honor, man.
Yeah, great time, man. I look forward to catching some fish with you. Meeting up in person and fishing some tournaments, man. I love it. So
awesome, man. Thank you. Good luck moving forward, except on TKC where I'll be taking part.
Hey, brother. It's all you. It's anybody. It's anybody. I don't. You, me. I'm just happy. Someone's catching fish. Either way.
Yeah, that's the point. To me, it's that camaraderie. I don't even look at what the winnings are like. People say, "Oh man, that's a lot of money." I don't care. I mean, I just want to meet people and just be a better angler. That's what I recommend. Anybody that loves kayak fishing, even if you don't love it competitively, if you want to get better at it, just sign up for your local trails, man. You get to rub shoulders to some of the best, like Clayton, and learn. Because everybody loves to talk about. Every kayak fishing guy, every fisherman loves to talk about fishing. I haven't met a single fisherman that doesn't love to talk about fishing. So, you buy him a beer and you can get him to, tell him all the deep, dark secrets on fishing.
Hey, I'm a big beer guy. There
you go. If you see Clayton, bring him a beer and he'll teach you everything he knows.
Not during the tournament, though. That's illegal.
Yeah, not during the tournament. You get disqualified for that. Afterwards.
Yes, afterwards is a must. That's why we have beer sponsors and vodka sponsors. North Texas, Western Sun. Yep. Big shout out to them.
Yeah.
Real all big guys.
I love what they're doing, Western Sun, with supporting the anglers and,
sponsoring
a lot. I think not just KBN, but other social media guys and podcasts, Western Sun. I think they're sponsoring the TKC or the North Texas. Southeast 6. North Texas, right? They're sponsoring the North Texas.
North Texas for sure. I'm not 100% on who else they're dealing with, but North Texas has been a couple years now. I got a few raffle prizes from them. So that's big thanks to them for sure.
Yeah, but I love it when companies like that sponsor, man, because it's still a growing sport, and for them to kind of like bet on the future and say, you know what, we believe this is gonna grow, then get their promos in early before the big companies do, then that's awesome.
It's grown a lot, man. It's still growing, so it's a huge sport now. But
it is. It is cover of Bassmasters. I don't know
Yep.
the first. I'm going to assume this is the first time. I don't even wonder who's at the. I have to see who's at the front page. But there you go.
Yep.
Kayak fishing.
Exactly. Yep.
So who'd have
Up
thunk
and
it?
coming. Couple years in the making. Here it goes. Going big time. So.
Yes, sir.
But
well, Clayton,
anyways,
thank you again so much.
Yeah. I appreciate it, brother.
I'll let you go so you can get something to eat, get some rest. I know you got a big day ahead of you. And again, we'll look forward to having you on the show again. And
yeah, brother.
And look forward to what you're doing next, man. And again, follow Clear Fork
Custom Jigs.
Clear
Fork Custom Jigs. Cortland Line, based out of New York. Look them up. Even if I wasn't on their pro team, look them up.
What do you love about the braid? What separates them from the rest now that we're talking about it?
All right, let's do it, brother. Hold on, let me grab them. So
this is improvising, but hey, man, you're selling me on it. So I have to find out what is it about it that you love it so much.
This is their master braid.
Uh-huh.
Great braid. Terrific braid. They've been doing this for a lot of years. Made in the U.S. Like, no frills, just straight up great braid. They also make another one. I don't have a box handy to show you, but it's called Silent Flip. It's instead of being a spaghetti noodle round, it's a fettuccine noodle. The braid is flat. It's a 16 carrier braid, which is higher than any other braid company. So it feels like butter. It's super smooth, coming over any, like through cover, like super, super smooth. Like, you know how when you have braid coming over a log or something, you feel it, like a little grind to it? Can't feel it. It's quieter. It's easier on your guides. Like, you're not, because you know how braid is. It wears through your guides eventually. You have to replace them all or get a new rod. So super, super phenomenal line. I throw it for all of my jig fishing, all of my big baits, all my depths, everything like that goes on the Silent Flip, just because it's less friction all around. I feel like it's easier on your reel, pulling, especially with the big baits, grinding in those big baits. Your gears are running a little smoother just because that line is so smooth. But Cortland Line, huge thanks to them. Check them out for real. So
we'll do it. No, I'm interested in that. When you said silent braid, I started more into doing the braid with the leader.
I throw a leader on a lot of my braid. Every rod I have has braid on it.
But I always worry that it's so noisy when you reeling in like a crankbait. You all that noise. I'm like, I wonder if this is gonna affect how if the fish are gonna attack this or not. Because this is noisy. I'm like, that has to transfer to the water. All that noise. But
some days it doesn't matter, but some days it really does.
Yeah.
And usually those are the days you're fishing for money. So you might as well have the best stuff.
Yeah.
And as far as like fishing, I think your line is probably the most important thing, because I got a lot of crappy reels and rods that I still use. Got a lot of nice ones, but they all got Cortland braid on them, and it's never failed me, man. I break a lot of leaders, but I don't break braid. It's really good. Really good.
Well, I'm gonna have to check it out, man. Where do you get them usually? You have to order them online, or
jump on their website, order through them. If you go to my Instagram, there's a link directly to their website. Jump on there, order everything, check them out. Like I said, they do fresh saltwater fly fishing, everything. Great fly line. If you're a fly guy, I mingle with the fly rods every now and again when I'm not a little in the off season, but I love their fly line. But their braid is phenomenal. So check it out for sure.
Gotta check it out, definitely. Well, thanks again, Clayton. I feel like I thanked you about 20 times now, but it's always good to talk to you, man. It's always good to share knowledge and info. So great stuff. And for those out there listening, if you made it this far, appreciate it. We thank you for sticking around and listening to the podcast. Remember, if you're going out in the water, be safe. Do whatever you need to do to make sure you make it home safe. Let your friends, family know where you're going to be in case of emergency, where they can find you. So have a great night, everybody. Have a great day. Tight lines. Thank you all.
Thanks for tuning in to another killer episode on Paddle and Fin. Don't forget to go check out our website at paddle_n_fin.com. Don't forget to check out the YouTube channel at Paddle and Fin. If you got a question, comment, want to hear from a future guest on a future episode, feel free to email us at paddle_n_fin@gmail.com. Don't forget to follow us on social media at Paddle and Fin on Facebook and Instagram. Shout out to our show supporters, Angler. The Angler button and app just makes for a better time on the water and creates a virtual logbook for every fishing outing out on the water. Shout out to Rocktown Adventures, located in Northern Illinois, for all your kayaking, camping, and hiking needs. Shout out to Jig Masters Jigs. When in doubt, get the jig out. Go to jigmasters.com